Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe. Sorry I haven't posted a video in a month. I've been busy, you guys. Anyway, today's topic is job shaming. Look, I'm not posting anybody's video with her shaming somebody, because obviously all this job shaming chatter has been going on the TikTok, and people are saying some of the rudest things. And what's even crazier is most of these people are around my age, Gen X, and I'm just like, what in the world are you even talking about? What in the world? Because if I remember clearly, when we were younger, silent generation boomers used to call us a bunch of slackers. So what does a job not being, I don't know, being a teenage job, which is one of the words I heard, or being a starter job have to do with anything? Like, this conversation has been going on for a really long time. And I think about my cousin, or who's an uncle. He's a young cousin uncle. I don't remember. I don't even think I was related to him. I think he's just a family friend, and we called him like our cousin, uncle, whatever. Anyway, besides, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. He worked as a sanitation worker. He was a garbage man for a few years. I want to say like a decade, and he made bank, enough to buy a couple of houses, enough to retire pretty early, enough to send his daughters to a really bougie private school and college and all those other things, you know? And that's considered a kind of like, I don't know, not like a job that gets shamed for, like sanitation worker. I also think of like, trying to think what else is considered like, ooh, you do that? Like a janitor, and janitors get paid bank too. Like people who do any kind of maintenance in either like a school or an office building, they make a lot of money. Also like electricians and plumbers. I remember when I was younger, used to be like those jobs were kind of shamed for doing that. And I kind of, when I was younger, I wanted to go to instead of going to college, I wanted to be an electrician, electricianist, if that's a word, because I thought it was a really interesting job, and I was told that's a man's job. But also, it's not a respectful career. Who cares, man? Those guys are making bank. I'm also, the one that always gets me, two actually, that always gets me is like fast food server and retail jobs. They're always like, they're always given sort of like this disrespect to them, and people are like, those are high schooler jobs. And it's like, look, sometimes, especially with the economy we have now, where jobs are really scarce, you gotta take what you get. You gotta take whatever's out there, and sometimes that means working jobs that are not the most glamorous, working jobs that are really freaking hard. Because retail jobs, I've had plenty of retail jobs throughout my life, and good lord, they're really hard jobs. And then, like working at, I can't even. I've never worked at a fast food. Well, no, I'm trying to think. Yes, I did work at a fast food restaurant for like a month. I couldn't. I could. It's like, oh no. But still, those jobs were really hard. And also, people are like, those are teenager jobs. I'm like, teenagers can't run restaurants. You need adults to be like management and upper management. Like teenagers can do, yeah, retail cashier, burger flipper, whatever, French fry person. But that other stuff, you need people who are adults. And to be honest, in situations where you go to restaurants, I would prefer an adult cooking my meal instead of a kid. Like cashier stuff, that's not, sure, have them do that, but I prefer an adult. So I just don't understand this kind of discourse around paying people a livable wage too. That's the other thing. Like, first it's like, what's a teenage job? And we shouldn't be paying people livable wages. What? Like, the hell? It all goes back to paying people livable wages, and people will defend these billionaires basically by saying, well, this is a teenager job, this is a stepping stone job, this is your first job, it's not like a career, like you shouldn't expect much. But why, like, I see it as like, why are you defending corporations over people? Like, it's been well documented that Walmart doesn't pay people enough to live. Like, people who work for Walmart get food stamps and probably like government assistant and Medicaid and all that stuff because they just don't get paid enough. And that's wild, Why can't they? And a lot of them work really hard, really, really hard. And why can't Walmart pay them a decent wage? They're making millions, right? But people will say, well, that's not a real job. Why are you defending these billionaires? That's how I look at it. Everything's a real job. We need everybody. We need all hands on deck. This world's on fire and we need everybody, all hands on deck. We need everybody to take every job. There's not enough jobs out there. Yeah, like, and people are just looking for, like, I've seen people looking for jobs and they're like, I used to work as, I don't know, like a corporate X, Y, and Z, and now I'm working at Target. And there's nothing wrong with that until you figure out how to get back to your career. But to disrespect people and say that it's not a real job and they shouldn't get paid a livable wage is kind of like disturbing to me. And it's been going on for a really long time. And I just feel like we need to figure out a way to mind our business. Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there with opinions of things that they shouldn't have opinions about. And it gets worse on social media, like, because it's like, I saw in more than one occasion a comment about somebody, and it's some old guy who, okay, I won't say their race or whatever, but it's obvious that maybe he got help in his life, and it's beneath him to work at a retail job. But it isn't beneath me. If I have to work at a retail job, I'll do it. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I worked a retail job at a museum, and I loved it. I thought it was cool. And and for me as an actor and as an artist, these jobs supplement my art and my things. So I don't mind them. I don't have a problem with them. I just don't understand why other people have problems with something like a retail job. Like, who cares? And why are you defending these corporations? Because it's like Walmart and all these other Target and all these other places don't pay people enough, but yet people are like, well, that's their problem. They should have gotten a real job. Maybe I don't want and then what's a real job too? Maybe these people don't want a real job. Maybe they're happy working at Walmart. Maybe they're happy working at Target. Maybe, like me, this is just a job for income to pay the bills and they can do other things. Like, has anybody thought about that? Because it's really upsetting to see, well, not really upset. I'm not that upset, but it's irritating, I would say, that people still consider certain jobs undesirable starter jobs and that people should not get paid a livable wage at those jobs. And like, I think the best example is McDonald's. Like, someone's working at McDonald's. Oh, they shouldn't get a livable wage. That's a teenager's job. Yeah, but McDonald's is making billions. They're all around the world. Like, making sure that someone gets paid correctly shouldn't be so outrageous and radical. I don't know. And I'm sure that if you went to a McDonald's in another country where wages and stuff like that was like mandatory. I'm thinking of France. I'm sure if I went up to a McDonald's worker in Paris and asked them how much they're making, they're probably making a livable wage for what Paris is. So it's wild to me that people in this country are so like quick to shame people for their jobs. And I don't know. I just find it really crazy. And I wish people would stop, because we're in a really terrible recession where everybody's getting laid off. So who cares what people do for a living? Like, if you have to go work at Target for a while, for a couple of years, So be it, as long as you can afford everything. And like, people shouldn't be working themselves to death. Excuse me. It's not some sort of competition. Let's see who can work themselves to death. It's not. We, work-life balance, baby. It's hard, but other places outside America do this, and I'm sure someone's gonna come in and be like, "Whoa, we're a capitalist country." Shut up. Shut up. Shut up with your. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I think that everybody should be respected. Everybody should get a living wage. I know, radical socialist nonsense. I know someone's gonna come in and be like, anyway, I'd love to hear your comments. Love to hear what you think. Be respectful in the comments and let me know how you feel about this. Do you agree that people in the United States of America, because that's the only kind of indicator, marker, understanding I have, because that's where I live and I grew up, should be receiving a livable wage regardless of what they're doing for that job? There shouldn't be people out there getting food stamps when their employers should be paying them enough and giving them medical insurance. Let me get me started on that. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and until next time.